fundamental feature of science is its ability to predict the future. If your hypothesis about the world is accurate, you can predict the future more accurately. If I have a ball and I throw it up in the air using kinematic equations of motions from Newton, I can tell you where it's going to land and how far away and how fast it's going to get there and so on. Well, this is happening in AI, and what we're finding is there's two main worldviews here. You have the materialist worldview, which is atheists who believe that the only thing that exists are time, matter, space, and energy. And you have the theist worldview, who believe there are things that are non-physical or metaphysical that exist. And predictions have been made on both sides. So from the materialist worldview, we'll see from Sam Harris that the prediction is superintelligence will arise from better information processing. And that consciousness will come along for the ride. The consciousness just appears as an emergent property of our brain structure. Now, if that was true, AI would wake up and become conscious. Theists have said something very different. They've said our consciousness, our free will, these are things that come as a matter of our souls, not the matters of the physical structure of the brain. So who's right? Well, let's look at what Sam Harris said in his predictions, and then we can decide.
Intelligence is a matter of information processing in physical systems.
Let's pause there. So he goes on to say, intelligence just being the matter of information systems, and we're improving our systems. It doesn't matter what rate we're improving them, that eventually you'll have superintelligence. Okay. Now let's tie this to something he said on the Lex Fridman podcast.
Taking the thesis seriously that there's nothing that mind, intelligence, and consciousness ultimately are substrate independent, right? You don't need a biological brain to be conscious. You certainly don't need a biological brain to be intelligent, right? So if we just imagine that consciousness at some point comes along for the ride as you scale up in intelligence.
Did you catch that? So one, intelligence is not dependent on biological reality. Completely agree with him there. He's absolutely right. So machines are getting more intelligent. But he makes the mistake to assume that intelligence is the thing that creates consciousness. Because we already have machines that are more intelligent than conscious beings. Let's look at the Kurzweil curve. So the Kurzweil curve is created by Ray Kurzweil. The author of the book The Singularity is Near. And it looks at the different levels of intelligence different animals have. So if you look at The Moral Landscape by Sam Harris, he talks at length about the moral responsibility we have to conscious creatures, including animals. So we've exceeded a long time ago the processing power of the insect brain, of a mouse brain, and best we can tell, GPT-4 matches the neural connections of the human brain. It's on par with it. And yet, none of these things have resulted in AI that is conscious and that has a free will. So this is a shot across the bow for this holy war between theists and atheists. They have claimed that consciousness is just a product of a physical reality of the brain, but if that was true, we would already have fully conscious machines that have free will, that are self-aware, and we don't. We've exceeded the processing power, the data storage, the neural connections of, based on this chart here, right, lower intelligence animals, and yet we know that a mouse is conscious, we know that an insect is conscious, and yet the machines are not yet conscious. This isn't going to change. You're not going to get all of a sudden GPT-5 and you're going to have even more neural connections and all of a sudden the machine's going to wake up. It's never going to wake up. Their understanding of reality is what's broken. And that's why their predictions are wrong now and they will be wrong forever. And we discussed this in length in our book, Soulless Intelligence. It's coming out soon.